The good cop, bad cop. The classic tag team routine. One officer struts in with a friendly, almost reassuring presence like a long-lost uncle who just wants to help. The other, a walking storm cloud of rage, ready to flip the table at the slightest provocation. The contrast between the two is no accident. Bad cop is there to make the room feel like a pressure cooker, raising tension, barking accusations, maybe slamming a fist on the table for dramatic effect. Then, right when the suspect starts sweating, good cop swoops in like a lifeline, offering a way out. Look, my partner's upset, but I want to help you. Just tell me what happened, and I'll make sure things go easier for you. The psychological trick is simple. When faced with aggression, people instinctively seek safety, and good cop becomes that safety. Before they realize it, they're spilling details just to keep him on their side. The Reid Technique. This one is the gold standard of modern interrogation techniques, and also the most controversial. The Reid Technique doesn't rely on physical intimidation or shouting. Instead, it's all about psychological warfare. It starts with the interrogator pretending they already know everything. We have evidence placing you at the scene. We know what happened. The only question is, why did you do it? The suspect isn't given a chance to deny involvement. Instead, they're pressured to explain their actions, as if guilt is already assumed. Then comes the false choice, a deceptive tactic that makes confession feel inevitable. Did you plan this out, or was it just a mistake? Either way, the suspect just admitted guilt. Many false confessions have come from this method, because when someone is exhausted, anxious, and convinced they're trapped, they'll say anything just to end the interrogation. The silent treatment. Sometimes, the most powerful tactic is doing absolutely nothing. Humans are wired to hate awkward silence. It makes us uncomfortable, restless, desperate to fill the void with words. And that's exactly what interrogators count on. After hours of questioning, when a suspect refuses to talk, the detective simply sits back and stares. No accusations, no threats, just a long, excruciating silence. The suspect starts fidgeting, their thoughts racing. Are they on to me? Are they just waiting for me to slip up? The longer the silence drags on, the more likely they are to blurt something out, sometimes just to break the tension. And once they start talking, it's only a matter of time before they say something they shouldn't. The ego boost. If flattery works on first dates, why wouldn't it work in an interrogation room? This method is all about appealing to a suspect's ego, stroking their self-image to get them to let their guard down. The detective might say, "Look, you're obviously an intelligent person. You're not like those other criminals who get caught lying. You're too smart for that." The suspect, eager to maintain that image, unconsciously starts playing along. They want to prove the detective right, to show that they are rational, clever, and honest. And in doing so, they often reveal more than they intended. This technique is particularly effective on narcissistic personalities who can't resist the urge to be seen as superior. It's interrogation through flattery, and when done right, it's incredibly effective. We already have the evidence, bluff. Nothing shakes a guilty person more than the thought that they've already been caught. Interrogators know this, and they use it to their advantage by confidently claiming to have undeniable proof, DNA evidence, security footage, a witness statement. The detective puts the suspect in an impossible position. Even if the suspect knows they didn't leave any evidence, doubt creeps in. What if they do have something? The detective might casually slide a folder across the table, as if it contains damning proof, even though it's completely empty. The suspect, convinced that lying is now pointless, starts talking. The reality? The detective has nothing, but the mere belief that they do is often enough to get a confession. The emotional appeal. Not everyone cracks under logic, but almost everyone cracks under emotion. Interrogators know that people are more likely to confess when they feel a personal connection to the consequences of their actions. Think about your mother. Think about how disappointed she'd be if she knew what happened. Or even worse, do you want your kids to grow up knowing their parent went to prison for lying? By shifting the focus from the crime to the people the suspect loves, interrogators create a sense of guilt that's almost unbearable. Even hardened criminals can break under this method because no one wants to be seen as a disappointment by the people they care about. The reverse psychology trap. Humans are stubborn. Tell someone not to do something, and suddenly it's all they want to do. Interrogators use this to their advantage. Instead of pressing a suspect for answers, they back off. "Look, it's fine if you don't want to talk. We'll find out the truth anyway." This creates panic. The suspect starts thinking, what if they get the wrong story? What if they pin something worse on me? The fear of losing control makes them confess just to make sure their side of the story is heard. It's a classic trick. Act like you don't care about the answer, and people will rush to give it to you. This is your last chance countdown. Nothing speeds up a confession like the illusion of a deadline. If you don't tell us now, we can't help you later. It's rarely true, but it creates panic. Suspects suddenly feel like time is running out, and desperation makes them reckless. They start talking without thinking exactly what the detective wants. It's a psychological ticking clock, and when the pressure is on, most people can't resist. The rapid-fire questioning. Think you can lie under pressure? Try keeping your story straight when someone is drilling you with non-stop questions. This technique overwhelms the suspect with rapid, back-to-back inquiries, leaving them no time to think through their responses. Where were you last night? Who were you with? What time did you leave? What color was the car? What did you eat for dinner? The goal is simple: exhaust the brain. When people are flustered, they start contradicting themselves, fumbling details, and making mistakes. The moment a suspect stumbles over an answer, the detective pounces. Wait, you just said you left at 9 p.m., but earlier you said 10 p.m. Which is it? The suspect, realizing they slipped up, scrambles to correct themselves, but by then, the damage is done. Inconsistencies make them look guilty, and the more they struggle to fix their story, the worse it gets. The false sympathy trap. Some interrogators don't need threats or intimidation. Instead, they make the suspect feel like they are the victim. Look, I know you didn't mean for this to happen. You were under a lot of pressure. Anyone in your situation would have done the same thing. By showing false sympathy, the detective makes the suspect feel understood, like someone finally sees their side. And in return, the suspect starts explaining, sometimes even admitting to things they wouldn't have under a more aggressive approach. The detective isn't just looking for a confession. They're looking for any statement that suggests guilt. Once they have that, it's game over.